When I can look at a choice and say, what is my most thriving version of me going to choose, right? What is that choice? When I'm in a position, in a mind state, when I can think like that, that is to me when I'm at my healthiest mentally. Hey y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a Black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sis, a safe space for Black women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued. We have room for you here, sis, okay? I am Shekinah, your host, and this is absolutely one of my most favorite places to be, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me this week, okay? Now, this is a community, okay? Let's Talk Sis is not just about what I have to say, but what you all think as well. So if you want to join in on the conversation, I want to hear from you, okay? So if you have a timeline topic, a let's talk topic, a question that you want discussed, or you need some advice, please email me at the Let's Talk Sis pod at Gmail and title it Let's Talk Sis, and we will most definitely get the conversation cracking around here, okay? Now, the Let's Talk Sis brand is all about promoting authenticity in conversation to heal, grow, and inspire our audience. So if you love what we're doing here, you can help keep the conversation going by supporting the Let's Talk Sis podcast and buy me a coffee. All right, your support goes to help growing the team, improving our content, and keeping the mission moving forward. Every contribution, whether big or small, really does make a difference here on the team. So you can tap the link in the show notes or visit buymeacoffee.com/let's talk sis to show your love and help keep building this community. All right? Okay, I expect to see some coffees. Now, y'all got to pull up. I need to see some coffees. I need to see some red hearts. I need to see some subscriptions. I need to see some likes. I need to see some community activation and engagement. Okay? I'm giving y'all this good content. Y'all, that's the least that you can do for your girl. All right? Thank you. Okay, so on that note, I do have a quick announcement. I do want you all to know that we are growing here at the Let's Talk Sis podcast, okay? We are growing. So our YouTube follower count is up 5 followers this week. We are now at 113 followers. Air horns. Oh, wait a second. I have sound effects. Woohoo! Yes, listen, y'all, we are onward and upward. So please continue to spread the word, share the podcast, share the platform with women in your life who you know would benefit, relate to, understand, and enjoy the content that we got coming out here down to the Let's Talk Sis, okay? With that being said, let's get into our timeline topic of the week, okay? So I was scrolling through my timeline, and this video is a little bit long, so I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is what I found.
Everyone's like, my throat chakra is blocked. No, it's not. Your throat chakra is loyal. Because if it were really blocked, you wouldn't be able to talk at all. But you can talk. You just can't say the things that would make your mother uncomfortable. You don't struggle to speak. You struggle to disappoint. You can present, you can negotiate, you can explain yourself to strangers, but the moment it's personal, the moment it's emotional, your throat's like, absolutely not. We are not starting World War III today. Some of you were raised in homes where speaking up came with consequences. Not yelling, Not punishment, just tension, withdrawal, disappointment, silence. And silence is very effective training. So now as an adult, you're like, I don't know why I freeze. Because your body remembers. Your nervous system learned early, honesty costs peace. People love to spiritualize this. They're like, you need to unblock your throat chakra. Unblock it from what? From the woman who taught you that harmony mattered more than truth? You learned very young that saying less kept things calm, agreeing kept you safe, swallowing words kept the house quiet. So now your throat doesn't betray you, it protects you. Your throat chakra isn't blocked.
I mean, I don't really. I don't really know if I need to say any more than that. Okay, let me start at the beginning. Okay, I'm not a throat chakra. I'm not a chakra girl. Okay, I couldn't really tell you much about them other than they are like parts of your body that hold and are responsible for certain energies. That's about as far as my chakra knowledge goes. But what I can understand and relate to is I have literally physically felt this lump in my throat when there is something I need to say that I feel like for whatever reason I cannot say it. There's something I need to get out that it's causing a physical reaction that me not getting it out is blocking my throat, is blocking anything else I need to say. Suddenly not becomes no longer important, not a priority, because you need to get that thing you've been holding in out. And when you start thinking about, well, why does that happen? Why do I have to go through such a physical reaction to the things I need to say, as opposed to just being able to say the things I need to say, right? Why can't I just say what I need to say, move on? Because there are people like that. There are people who it is very easy for them to assert issues, assert problems, say what's on their chest. And then there are people like me who are and have been people pleasers, who like the kumbaya, who also learned early that your expression, your opinion, your thoughts is not welcome here. It really doesn't matter. And so you internalize that, right? You do become loyal to, it may not necessarily be your mother, but you become loyal to that thinking that my silence is better. What better means, we don't really know. But we spoke about this on another episode. Women who don't express themselves don't live as long as women who do. So is it really better? You think that your silence is better because in this moment you feel more, maybe more close to the surface. I was gonna say at peace, but things don't feel as rocky in this moment if I just don't say anything. We can all just kind of float and coast on by if I just keep my mouth shut. The second I say something, we're in rocky waters, right? But you might need to go through a little rocky water real quick, because if there's rocks in the water, water's getting filtered, and filtered water is better than not filtered water. See how I just connected that analogy? Okay. So it's just kind of like sometimes you have to be uncomfortable for the moment at the sake of being uncomfortable, or at the sake of being comfortable throughout the rest of the duration of the ride. Let's get this tough stuff out of here, right? Let me swallow this lump in my throat, put a stick in my back, right? Walk confidently into this conversation and say what I need to say. Otherwise, I'm going to constantly feel unsatisfied, unconnected to these conversations and these things that I'm doing, because I'm not truly being and saying what I need to say. Also, you rocking the waters or murking the waters or rocking the boat, however you want to say it, it's not only necessary for you, but sometimes it's necessary for that other person. Sometimes people don't recognize the way maybe they're speaking to you that's making you feel small, or recognize the things that they're saying that is triggering you, or the things that they're not saying that you need them to. And sometimes we do ourselves a disservice by assuming people just know stuff. People just know what we need. People just know how we expect them to show up. And because we don't have the hard conversation, do the uncomfortable thing, we never give them an opportunity to even show up in that capacity. So, it's not common that you might not think that, you're not saying something for other people. Like, you might think, no, I'm not saying anything because I'm going to protect my peace. Now it's just better for me. But then, deep down inside, you're pissed. You constantly feel unseen. You constantly feel unheard. You constantly feel unvalued. And it's because you're not speaking up for yourself. There are certain boundaries, statements, expectations that you have to kind of express, even if they feel uncomfortable and vulnerable to do so in the moment. So let's get into some of these comments. What's happening over here? Hold on, y'all. I have like 55 screens. So, woo! Dang, she came out swinging. Silence is very effective training. Chakra girl over here. It is valuable research to dig into. She says, yes, that's how chakras work. It feels like a blockage or a need to express or act. You start to think that loyalty equates to peace and safety. And, I think the concept of peace is something to even further dissect into, because we can mistake peace for a momentary thing, right? In my mind, peace is a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It is fluid, right? But I think we consider peace, well, if I just don't say anything, if this other person's not upset with me, that is peace. When in reality, peace is, the hell if they're upset with me, I said what I needed to say. That's a different level of peace that I have come into finding. That before it was, well, they're not mad at me. They still like me. We're still in good graces. I'm compromising myself. I'm sacrificing myself. I'm not getting the thing I really need, but we're still good. So that's peace. When now peace has really been, do I actually like that? Do I actually want that? And did I do what I needed to do to honor myself, even if it was uncomfortable? And if the answer is yes, I got peace with it. I have peace with that, right? We may not never speak again, but I have peace with the fact that, hey, you won't ever disrespect me like that, or whatever. I stood up for myself. I held fast to my boundary. I got peace with that. So, with that being said, let's move on to our Let's Talk topic for the week, and that is protecting our mental health. Now, this conversation around mental health is nothing new, okay? It is often spoken on podcasts and on panels, and everybody has a perspective on mental health, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to join in on the conversation, because if you're going to get it from somebody, why not get it from your girl? Okay. I just wanted to share with you, as I do all the time, my business. Okay. I just want to share with you guys some things that unconventional ways that have helped to protect my mental health. It's not the traditional routes of therapy and meditation, journaling, etc., but just some things that you might not think affect your mental health. Now, I want to start at the beginning of what is mental health. Like, what does that mean, right? Because people talk about it, people say it, but I think it's a spectrum, and I'm not a therapist or licensed or anything, but I'm just going to tell you my definition of having a healthy mental state is when I can make decisions, choices from a state of thriving and abundance mindset, perspective, viewpoint, whatever, as opposed to from a state of thriving as opposed to surviving. When I can look at a choice and say, what is my most thriving version of me going to choose, right? What is that choice? When I'm in a position, in a mind state, when I can think like that, that is to me when I'm at my healthiest mentally. When I am thinking from a place of survival, from a place of just trying to get just enough, when I'm thinking of a place from a place of lack, from a place of fear, I'm not able to make decisions that land me again in a path where thriving can flow, if that makes sense. So let's say, for example, you need to get a new apartment, right? You have one apartment, or you're looking to get a new apartment. You have an apartment that's available in 2 days. It's $200 a month, but it's 2 foot by 2 foot, right? Or you have another apartment that's available in 2 years, but it's $20,000 a month, and 20 square foot. But you decide to go for the one that's available in 2 days because you got to do something right now. You have to make a move right now. That's when because you're making a decision from a survival, scrappy, I have to do something right now. I'm at my wit's end standpoint. You choose the BS $200 apartment. And obviously it's going to be trash. Obviously it's not going to be up to your standards, but because you had to do something right then and there, you didn't have the opportunity to choose something that was truly in your best interest. You didn't have the space, the grace to really choose something that was in your best interest. So my question then is, okay, how do I put myself in a position to feel like I am thriving? How do I put myself in positions to feel like I don't have to do anything, really, right? How do I put myself in a position to where I can step back, be observant, be analytical and strategic in whatever this decision is? Or I can lean into the moment of now and feel, what's happening around me in this very moment to then make the decision. But none of the decisions I'm making are because I have to do X. None of the decisions I make are because I have to do Y. So with that being said, a few things I try to do. Step one is making the accommodations. Now, we spoke about this last year on an episode, a 3-part trilogy with Kimberlyn Jackson, and she spoke on her neurodivergent journey and recognizing that part of herself and how to cope and honor it. And one of the big things that I took away from that conversation is make accommodations, okay? Do the little things that make that process that much easier and better for you to enjoy. For example, for myself, okay, I after a shower, we gotta lotion up our body. Okay, I have eczema, so traditional lotions don't really work for me. What works best for me is an oil, a butter situation. Okay. However, coconut oil it hardens, right? So that's so annoying for me to have to try and scoop out this hard coconut oil, melt it in my hand. Now it just makes the process of oiling my body after very tedious. Okay. So I'm like, well, what can I do? What concoction can I come up with to just make this accommodation for myself? It's a part of the process. It's something that has to get done because I'm not going to be out here ashy. Okay. It's something that has to be done. So what can I do just to make it easier? Allowing myself a moment to think about that instead of just pushing through it every single day. This thing that annoys the crap out of me. Let me make an accommodation for myself. So now I done concocted a little oil shea butter situation, that works for me in a way that works for me. And it's a small thing, but it makes a big, big difference, And I think we don't honor ourselves enough to say, this piece in this process pisses me off every day. It gets on my nerves. But I just deal with it. I don't do anything about it, right? But I think when we allow ourselves to make an accommodation, meal prep our food, not meal prep our food, make a meal plan, not make a meal plan, do whatever it is we need to do to make these processes smoother. Now we can do these things in joy. Now I don't have to feel lethargic about taking care of the things that I need to take care of for myself, right? Also, in making the accommodations, I am learning to slow down. We talked about this on a previous episode, but slowing down, not feeling like I have to do everything in 30 seconds or less, allowing myself to think through a process. Is there a way I could make this more efficient? Is there a way I could do this better? What's the best way for me to actually approach this conversation? I don't actually have to talk about it right this second. I will speak about it. We will talk about it, right? But what is going to be the best approach? How can I be sure to get my point across, say what I need to say, stay on track, honor who I am, etc., etc.? And that comes from slowing down. That comes from taking time to do the things, right? Whatever they are, and know that things take time. Now, don't be like me and think, you can do everything in 4.5 seconds and it's going to be done well. Like, no, things take time. You have to give yourself time. Okay. Next thing I do to help protect my mental peace is I just started this concept of cycle syncing my workouts. Okay. And if you are not familiar with the concept of cycle syncing, basically it is saying these different arenas of my life, in this case fitness, but it also can apply to food, supplements, books you read, people you engage with, workloads, activities, like anything in your life that you do kind of on a regular, you basically sync it to your cycle. So you examine how and who and what you are in the different phases of your cycle and make the accommodation for the workout, make the accommodation for the workload, make the accommodation for the supplements based on that part of, or based on how you show up in that part of your cycle. So for myself, it's something I had heard of and never really applied, but I thought, okay, let me apply this to my workouts. So while I'm on my cycle, I am doing Pilates. Why I chose Pilates? Because to me, it is a low impact workout that still, does the things. It is not easy by any means, but I ain't got to do all that jumping around and sweating and bodily fluids when, there's already enough going on. So to me, it's like, okay, cool. And now I'm on my cycle. I don't feel like, damn, I'm missing a whole week of working out, or feel like I have to begrudgingly get to the mat and give half efforts because I'm not feeling it and da-da-da-da. What can I do? What can I feel and give a sufficient amount of energy and effort to, right? And do it in joy and make the accommodation for, oh, I can do Pilates. Cool. The week after my cycle, I'm usually feeling real strong, real take the world. Life's great. Let's do all the things. So much energy. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do my high intensity, my weight training exercises during that part, that period of my cycle. After that, just kind of before my cycle starts, I do feel lethargic. I'm extremely tired. I don't have a ton of energy. So I'm like, okay, I'll do my walks. Or my Monique's movement, which is a walking dance exercise, right? It's just standing in place, right? So these are workouts that I have put in the cycle that allow me to achieve the ultimate goal, which is maintaining my physical health, right? Honoring my physical workout routines. That's one of our 10 commandments. And doing it, though, in a way that doesn't disregard how my body operates. That is a huge accommodation that we as women especially don't make as often as we could. Honoring how do we achieve our goals in balance with respecting how our bodies operate. That period is going to come, okay? God willing. that it's gonna come until it doesn't, and then you make, a new accommodation for that phase in life. But while it's here every month, what can I do to lean into it, to work with it, right? Not fight so heavily against it and still hit a wall because I'm not honoring myself. And it's like before, without this, I just not finna work out. Right now I'm starting back at the beginning, and it's just like, this is counterproductive. I got to do something. So pray for you, girl. Check in on me, on how that works. The next thing is more awareness of when I get overwhelmed. Okay. Protecting our mental health, again, is all about allowing ourselves to be in positions where we can make sound choices, decisions. Life is made up of a bunch of different decisions. I decided to sit here, turn on my mic. I decided to plug it in, decided to press record. There's a bunch of small decisions that make up the totality of our life. So how do we make the most amount of best decisions possible, right? Prayerfully. And it's a piece of that is just awareness, hey, Jazz, being aware that, hey, this is too much right now. There's 7 million decisions that I need to make right now, and I have the capacity to make 2. One of those decisions is that I'm not thinking about this anymore. And the other decision is that I'm finna go take my medicine. Okay? Sometimes we only have the capacity to make certain amount of decisions, and things are overwhelming. And I find myself being a creative, being a content creator, being a podcast, being a conversationalist. I have so many ideas and projects that I want to do. I also having that ADHD. Okay. My brain is like this. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do that. And after that. And the next thing. And right after that, and just before I finish that, I'm going to do this. That is my mind. Right. And so a lot of times I have to ask myself, is this thing I'm sitting over here obsessing about even worth the energy? Is it even worth the energy? And if the answer is yes, meaning it is worth the energy to process this situation, the next question is, do I have to do it right now? We have to ask ourselves, is this thing worth processing? Is it worth figuring out? And the answer is yes. Is it worth figuring out right now? Do I have to do this right now? And a lot of times that answer is no. So what I have found has been helpful is finding a container in which to put that thing in and deal with it. We are doing live co-working on Thursdays. I was just telling my friend this. We spoke about this at the end of the co-working. Having that 2-hour block every Thursday reserved to co-work lets me know I have space to work on the things. I know for the things that come to my mind that, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. I keep a running list. And on that Thursday, I check away at that list. I chip off at that list. And it shores up so much space in my brain because now I know I will address this thing because it's important to me. So it's like, well, I don't want to just not talk about it. I don't want to just not address it. I can't just forget it. But I now know, okay, nope. I can put that right over here. I can put that right on the shelf, and I'm going to come back to that on Thursday. Or I'm going to come back to that on this time. Or I'm going to come back to that in 20 minutes. Right now, the one thing I need to focus on is why my computer is lagging. The one thing I need to focus on is why my production ain't producing or whatever, it might be. But it's recognizing, where's this overwhelm coming from, and does it deserve my energy? Period. And if the answer is yes, and if the answer is yes, it needs it now. Okay? Because sometimes, I got to figure this shit out right now. Breathe. That's 30 seconds is not going to affect that deadline timeline situation. 30 seconds is not going to traumatize your kid waiting for you any more or less than they already are in this situation, right? 30 seconds is going to allow you, and hell, take 60 if you can, really. But it's going to allow you to just, I don't have the science on it right now, but that breath to that brain is going to clear up a lot, right? It's going to allow you, again, to position yourself to make the best decision in this moment possible. It's going to allow you to kind of clear some fog, prioritize what's necessary, and go with that. Okay, so let's see. We got some comments. Girl, you sure enough talking to me. Okay, I hope I'm talking to somebody. I like that. Reserve a day. Yes, reset. Yeah, so the overwhelm is nothing we can control or not control, but what we can do is, determine its value in this moment and breathe. And the last thing, those webs, if the answer is yes, do this. If the answer is no. If the answer is yes, I need to solve this right now. Yes, it's worth the energy, but I don't have the answers. I'm finding myself grasping at straws and I can't seem to find the solution. Baby girl, you got to give it to God. Okay, I have told y'all before about my God jar, and anything in those situations where I find myself continuing to come back to the problem, continuing to ruminate on the situation, continuing to try to make 2 and 2 equal 4, but I keep getting 6, or I keep getting -8, I keep getting 14. I write it down on that sticky note and I put it in that jar and I give it to God, because I clearly can't figure it out. Okay, you got to do it. And for me, it is a somatic practice. It is a cathartic practice of writing that thing out, getting it out of your mind and giving it to, literally handing it over, helps me to release that overwhelm. Okay, next thing we do to protect our mental peace is we honor our routines. Honor our routines. Honor our routines. Say it with me. Honor our routines. One more time. Honor our routines. Okay. Now I'm talking to you, talking to me, talking to you, talking to me, because it is way easier said than done. I think if you're anything like me, you'll get a routine in one area and then fall off a routine in another area and then get another one here and another one there, and it just somehow these routines don't seem to function on all cylinders at the same time, right? But you feel so much better when it does. It's like, girl, just do the things you know you need to do. And I get it. Life happens. One of my favorite TikToks that has been going around lately is somebody will have like a basket of laundry and a sock will drop and they'll be like, oh, guess I must drop the whole sock. Or they'll have a cup of water and some water will spill. Oh, guess I gotta throw out the whole cup of water. And the point is saying, just because you miss a day or you miss a moment in a routine or in an effort to be consistent doesn't mean you throw away the whole progress, right? So just because you didn't do your morning routine yesterday doesn't mean you off morning routines forever now, right? Doesn't mean you can't hop back on the wagon, because a lot of times we'll tell ourselves, well, I've been getting by without it, so I must be okay. I must be good. I've been getting by without it. But it's like, no, girl, like, you still need to honor them routines. You still need to hop back on the wagon. We still have to do the things that, again, put us in the best positions to make healthy, happy, whole decisions, right? If we know we need to do a morning routine, we need to listen to our music, we need to drink our hot tea, do a little journaling before we're able to, deal with our partners or deal with our kids or deal with the world, and we're not doing that, we are being irresponsible now, going out and having conversations with people. Because now you right on the precipice of cussing the bitch out, and the bitch ain't even did nothing to you. They just asked you if you wanted a coffee. And yeah, of course I want a coffee. You know I drink coffee. Okay, ma'am. Hey, I just, and the whole time it's because you didn't want to get up and listen to your music and stretch. Now you going off on a bitch about a coffee. It's a coffee. It's a coffee. You know? So I just, I think that's a silly example, but I promise you it's somebody who done went off on a bitch about a coffee. I promise you. Because they didn't do their morning routine. They didn't honor themselves. They didn't do what they needed to do to like be in a good position. Now that same person next day did the morning routine walking in. Now they making the coffees for everybody because they're just in such a great mood. They've processed, you know, they've thought about, and now they apologize. And right, but I'm just saying, let's do what we need to do so that we aren't, you know, presenting ourselves in a way that we don't want to be presented, right? Because now when they see you in Whole Foods, you the bitch that's going off about the coffee. Is that the reputation that you want? Or your kids are afraid of you because in the mornings you real mean? Is that the rapport that you want? You know, is that the light you want to be in? And is that the mindset that you want to be in even when dealing with people? Or do you want to be in a good mindset, in a good headspace, in a good mood as best you can, right? To engage with the world. Okay. So that is almost, okay. One more thing, last thing. And this is a big thing. Okay, on how I have been working to protect my mental health. Being proactive. Now, what I mean by that is when you're creative, when you have these ideas and desires and goals and dreams and things you want to do, and a certain vision for how it needs to be, it is very easy to think you cannot do anything. It is very easy to think, well, it's all beyond me, especially for myself in media and production. It's like, y'all know for a long time I've wanted my set to look a certain way, my video quality and my audio quality to be a certain way. And it's very easy to get discouraged in seeing other people's productions look the way I want my production to look. And because I don't have the money that they have, I can't really do anything about it, right? So I just give up. I just don't try. Or, well, you know, you've been skinny all your life. You don't know anything about losing weight. You couldn't tell me anything. I'm just gonna be big, like everybody in my family big. You know, this is just how we are. You know, it is what it is. Or this is just how I am. This is just how it is. This is just what it is. Kind of mindsets are never really helpful in a atmosphere of growth. You know, when you're wanting to, again, make decisions from a happy, healthy, whole place, you have to be able to say that something can be done. You have to have hope, right? That's kind of what that is, right? You have to have some glimmer of hope that turning on these microphones, producing this podcast is going to matter somewhere to someone. It's making an impact somehow, right? You can produce a podcast. You can actually come up with ideas and topics and conversations and make the things happen. I have to have some proactivity about myself to make these accommodations, to think about, okay, when am I in what phase of my cycle? How am I in each phase of my cycle? I have to have some proactivity about myself to even investigate on these things, to even consider these things, to even look into what routines do I honor? How am I talking to people about the coffee? You know, all of these things take a level of proactivity to even give a fuck about being better. Okay, to even want to say, hey, my mental health matters. So how can I positively impact it? It takes some proactivity. And a big hindrance that I have found to people just doing things, to myself even just starting something, is we want it to be perfect. We want it to be the creme de la creme. We want our stuff to look like it belongs, on stage with Beyonce. And it's like, what gives us the audacity to think that? We greatly overestimate our ability to get things done in a short amount of time, and underestimate the ability to achieve things over a long amount of time. Meaning, we think that if I could do it right now real quick, I can do it right now real quick, and it'll happen for me in a year. Who the are you? That's not how it works. Instead of approaching a thing saying, it's going to take me 10 years. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to learn. I'm going to fail. I'm going to try again. I'm going to make something. I'm going to make it perfect. I'm going to improve upon it. I'm going to start, and I'm going to keep going. And in 10 years, y'all going to see how many hours I done put in, right? In 5, y'all going to see how many hours I put in. We never give that mindset the credit sometimes that it deserves. And so I really try to maintain a proactivity about myself, and understanding that I have the tools, the ability, the things that I need to improve upon, to change, to adjust any situation that I need to in my life. Because without that, I'm hopeless. Without that, woe is me. The world sucks. I'm miserable. I don't have it. I'm not the one. I ain't it. And, that's not going to get me anywhere. Okay. So, listen, y'all, that's all I got today. Okay. That's all I have for you today. I hope you liked it. So before we go, I have to give y'all a conversation challenge. Okay. And this week's conversation challenge is to ask yourself and ask your tribe, in what ways are you protecting your mental health? Okay. And I don't mean the cookie cutter, I'm doing a journal and I'm going to the gym, but what are some real practical ways through our daily lives that we're protecting our mental health? And let me know in the comments, because as y'all know, this is a community and we got to share the love. Okay. Now, before we go, I also want to tell y'all about a project I am super excited about. On the Minding My Black Ass Business channel, we have a new podcast called From Auntie with Love. And this is a podcast about 4 aunties, 4 Black women in different parts of their life, just sharing how life is, sharing life from their experiences, our opinions. It's a good old girlfriend time. So let me play y'all a little clip real quick and go down and check us out. Coming out March 8th, okay? March 8th, every other Sunday, we are on YouTube. I don't know if y'all can tell it now, but we're excited.
Hey y'all, welcome to From Auntie with Love, a sisterverse of Black women reimagining life together.
They told me to put a pinch of brown sugar.
Who is they?
Who is they? She's like a good guy.
I'm trying to think
Right?
You want to go to a lounge? 4 aunties in different seasons of life, with stories to tell, thoughts to spill, wisdom to drop, and side eyes to give.
That's how we'll have a mindful booty moment.
Okay.
I'll lead us through a mindful booty moment.
One of my newfound commandments is that I will hold space for change and forgiveness.
Do not show up to anywhere that I do not know that you are coming, especially my house.
You're gonna find me with a drink high in the air in one hand and my body low.
Yeah. Let's get into the conversations that don't usually make it to the table, but they should, with love. Always.
All right. That was just a little message from the aunties. So y'all be on the lookout for that. I will share all that you need to know as it comes available. Okay, so if you want to find more of the Let's Talk Sis Sisterverse, sisterhood, you can connect with us on Facebook. Just search for the Let's Talk Sis podcast and you'll find us there. You will find journal prompts every Tuesday, as well as episode clips and just some other special announcements to help you stay connected. Okay, we are also on TikTok live every single day. Okay, the goal of this podcast is to create space for authentic conversations and connections. Okay, so on TikTok we're doing all kinds of things. Mondays we're rewatching the episode with a fun little live watch party. On Tuesdays we are talking TV, reality TV, dish and gossip, and other things related to that. Wednesdays we're doing content. Okay, so you get a chance to see some behind the scenes of the beautiful content productions that you see on my TikTok and my Facebook and my Instagram page. And then Thursdays, we are back over with the Kimberly Jackson universe and the Minding My Black Ass Business family, and we are co-working. So as I spoke about earlier in the episode, all those things I have to do, I put in that co-working container. Yeah, that's Thursdays live on TikTok from 12 to 2 p.m. and you are invited to join us. Okay, so bring your projects, bring your ideas, bring your production questions even, and pull up and join us there. We also do a little bit of co-worker chat, at the end of the episode, just to kind of address some professional entrepreneurial topics. And last but not least, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so right now. Okay, we are growing, as I spoke about on the top of the episode, and so I'm so excited to connect with you all. Like this episode, subscribe to the podcast, and leave me some purple hearts so I know that you are here and that we have connected. All right, so I appreciate y'all. If you didn't get anything from watching this episode, I don't think you was listening, okay? So go ahead, rewind it back to the top, play it again, play it in slow-mo, 2x speed, whatever you need to do to pick up the gems that was dropped. And then share it with somebody you love, your aunties, your sisters, your grandma, whoever. And I will see you right back here next week for another episode of the Let's Talk Sis podcast. See ya. Bye.